know what? It started at a very young age. Olivia, um, she always had this. Well, even before football, just she was always very rambunctious. She's always, running around the house, or you know, she just had something very special to her where she was always active. So we had to find ways to keep her motivated and my love of sports, um my love of football, um it just kind of went hand in hand where we put her on a ball at 3 years old, um and from there, um you could see that she had something a little bit different than everybody else at a young age. And I know a lot of people would say, oh, you're just saying that because it's your daughter. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I've been around the game and around sports long enough to know when someone is a little bit different than others. So, fast forward, we put her into house league. Um, I got my coaching license just so I can be around and make sure she was okay. And we were very lucky to be around some good people in the beginning that I learned a lot from, and then I was able to actually um, bring that to Livy when she was young. And it got to a point where it was something that was really special because um, it created a very special bond between us.
And in terms of yourself, because you obviously coached and played a huge part in it as well, how did you make sure that every move that she's made so far in her short career has been the right one?
A lot of it is gut. It's gut feeling. It's sticking to what you believe is right, because I've had this conversation where people will always try to tell you what is best for your child, but at the end of the day, um I don't believe that any decision that we've made for Olivia would be a wrong decision because it was our decision. That's how we looked at it. And it's one thing to have a plan, but it's another thing for somebody to execute a plan to the point where you've actually exceeded the plan. So that is something that I think is really important, and for anybody else with their kids, that you really believe in your kid, you really believe that um, the potential of your child. Nobody should tell you um, what you should be doing. At the end of the day, it's your decision. And I think that there were a lot of people that, would say, at a young age, you're not letting her, and that's tough because as a young girl, you know, she missed a lot of parties. She missed her graduation. She missed sleepovers. She did all that stuff. Um, but I think and it was hard, like, as a especially as a dad, you're hearing people say, well, you're not letting her be a child and you're pushing her too much. But what people didn't or don't understand is that she wanted it just as much. And there was a little saying we'd say is that, what, like, she matched my crazy, where even though she wanted it more than I did. And that's another thing. You can't want it more than your child. Your child has to want it. But if you guys match, it becomes a beautiful thing.
Um, so, how did you feel? Because, first of all, from her career, she goes to Portugal and then obviously she's now in England. Was it hard to let that bit go?
You have an idea, right? And this is the thing. You have an idea in your head, and this is all has to actually go through. Like, Liv has to believe in it too, because Liv always wanted to go pro. Liv, Liv only wanted to go to university to play ball. That's the only reason why Liv wanted to go to university, was that she could play ball, get seen, go pro. Um, Olivia I don't know if you've seen some of the articles, but she manifested a lot of this herself also. We all did, where, she wanted to become, she wrote this all out. I want to be a legend. I want to play pro. This is at like 7, 8 years old. So all I believe that her mother and I did was try to facilitate her dream. So we have a plan. And thank goodness that we had some very good people, helping, because our circle is very small. We keep a very, very small circle. Um, and when it came time for this opportunity for Portugal, um, I I knew it was the right fit. um, I think it was the best team for her to go to, because at that time Benfica was number one. They were in Champions League, and um, I believe that Olivia was that missing piece from Sporting. Maybe not beat Benfica at that point in time, but to at least fight and give Sporting a good chance to get to Champions League, which, as you can see, you fast forward, and it was the right move, because those derbies between Benfica and Sporting, Livia always stepped up and did what she had to do. Um, but that time leaving her there, it was tough as an 18-year-old, because it's still your little girl.
And from there, you couldn't get two bigger clubs than Liverpool and now Arsenal for her to progress even further. Just in a matter of in such a short period of time, from that moment in Portugal when you left her, and she's now grown into these two clubs in England.
It's actually, you know what? It's actually an honor, but it's also a testament to um, her, because not that I think, I know she deserves this. I know she does. And I think we haven't even, like, the crazy part of all this is that we haven't even seen the best of her yet. Like, we haven't even scratched the surface of what Olivia's talent and what she can do. Um, but I believe now, um, joining Arsenal with the leadership, with the professionalism of the players that she will be surrounded by on a day-to-day basis, not only is going to make her the one of the best footballers in the world, but it's going to make her one of the best people, I believe. And that to me is more important than the football. There's this soccer journal that she used to write in, and like, this will show you how young she was. But the crazy part about all this is, you know, these are the things that she would draw.
The little heart at the bottom. That's so cute. Casey, first of all, from working with her, a lot the people I've spoken to, I mentioned Matt Beard, saying that he wasn't surprised over the fee and what's happened in her career so far coming into WSL, but he was surprised how quickly it happened. Did it take you by surprise?
I think a little bit. I think the women's game's constantly taken me by surprise, though, with the transfer market, to be honest with you, and the speed and acceleration that the fees are going up in. But I obviously have worked with Olivia, not enough really, to be honest, in terms of the camp she's been at, but enough to know that she's very high potential, and that if she reaches that potential, that'll be money very, very well worth spent.
What's she like to work with? All I hear is rave reviews. So,
Do you know what? Like, brilliant, genuinely on a human level. Like, she's young. She is young, she's young. Her rise has happened quite quickly. So she has to learn certain elements of like professionalism and the game, and obviously being at a top club now. I think it's going to be really beneficial for her. But just a fantastic person, wants to learn, wants to grow. I'd probably describe her as quite sweet, really, in terms of her innocence and the way she goes about things. But at the same time, now there's going to be demands placed on her. There's a price tag placed on her. I met with her a few weeks ago and she seems comfortable with it. She's excited. She feels like she's in a good space. Arsenal's a good club for her. And I'm excited to follow her journey and her growth. And I think it'll only benefit the national team, her being at Arsenal.
the one thing Tom Gary said just before actually we spoke to you, he was saying perhaps because of the price tag, she's in the best club to manage that and to manage her, because Arsenal, in terms of engagement, the way they are within the women's game, it's a huge club, but also it's a club that looks after players.
Well, I've spent 2 spells there as a player, so I understand the club really well. We recently went and visited the club as soon as Olivia signed and went in and spent the day with them. And the women's game's changed a lot since obviously I was there. So the amount of staffing, resources, infrastructure that's there to support her from all aspects, to psychology, nutrition, obviously the technical side, and the analysis side, everything's there for her. So I think she's at a really good club. Obviously, huge fan base, huge demands, but I think she's ready for it.
Do you think she'll take this all in her stride, as she seems to have done in her short career already?
I can only hope so, because she is still so young. It does come with a lot of expectation. She's going to be in front of 50, 60,000 fans when she plays at the Emirates. But I also think there's an element of caution as well, and making sure that people are patient with her. She's going to have ups and downs like every single young player does. She's going to make mistakes. She's going to, I say, fall off the track a little bit from time to time, but it's about the people around her, putting her back on, making sure she's supported. And at the same time, giving her space and time to grow and develop and turn into the player that we all know she possibly can be.
And have you given her any advice from your your own career, because you had a phenomenal career, even though it's changed the women's game so much since you retired?
Yeah, I think my advice, like, I always sit with the players and I'll always talk to them, and I can obviously share experiences. I think I played in a slightly different era, but there was still the same kind of pressures and demands. What I just say is, like, so make sure you've got the right people on your bus. Make sure you're surrounded by the right people that are going to protect you, support you, challenge you when you're not getting things right. One of the big things was, like, when you go to Arsenal, like, buddy up with someone that understands what it is to be a pro, someone like Kim Little. Surround yourself with people like that have got longevity, that understand the day-to-day demands of the game, and learn everything you can and soak everything up, because it's just going to help you moving forward.
And despite the challenges that she will face playing for Arsenal in front of those sellout crowds that we so regularly see, how far can she go?
Well, number one, it's an amazing opportunity. She should be excited. Like, she's a player you pay to go and watch, so she should be excited to get those fans excited and out of their seats and singing her name. I think there are more to come, definitely. I think the young players are growing very quickly. The market is changing very quickly in terms of transfer fees. And it just shows, if you invest in youth and you put the right resources in place, and listen, her dad's done a great job of supporting her. She's done a lot of training, like a lot of individual staff. Like, she's a byproduct of the work that's gone on around her and with her. So, I just think it shows that the game is progressing, players are getting better, and the sky's the limit for Liv. I just think it's about patience with her right now.
The one thing, just lastly, is one thing her dad was telling me was, you get players and players love the game, but she seems to be in love with the game. She just seems to be so giddy about it that it's taken her on this pathway to where she is now.
I think that's brilliant, because it gives you almost like a freedom, and you don't fear anything, and you're a bit carefree in terms of just waking up in the morning on a game day and just can't wait to play. You're almost like that kid in the playground, which I think is such a great space to be in. I believe you have to love what you do, and the more you love what you do, the more you wake up every day inspired and motivated and committed to get better. So she's just going to continue on that road of getting better, and I'm excited to watch her. I can't wait to see the first game of the season.